Okay, good evening, everybody. So welcome to this evening's event, the ND Admissions live session for the College of Arts and Letters. First, I'd like to introduce to you our panelists and then tell you about the format for our evening, and then we'll get the show started. So my name is Nick Russo. I'm the Director of Advising and one of the Assistant Deans in the College of Arts and Letters. And I'm joined this evening by my good friends, Jared Mrozinski, who is the Arts and Letters Career Program Manager. Welcome, Jared. And we're also joined by two amazing arts and letters students, both seniors, Mac Ryan, who is majoring in economics with a minor in philosophy, politics, and economics. And then also a senior, Caroline Pineda, who is majoring in film, television, and theater, journalism, ethics, and democracy, and the Glynn Family Honors Program. So the format for our event this evening is I will do a brief introduction to the college, and then I'll turn it over to Jared Mrozinski, our career program manager, who will tell you about outcomes for arts and letters students after they finish their undergraduate degrees. And then for some incredible testimonials to our two student panelists, Mac and Caroline. So let me start by telling you about a place. I'm broadcasting to you live from the first floor of O'Shaughnessy Hall. This is a wonderful place. It's the most exotic place in South Bend and on campus. Why? Because it's the heart of the College of Arts and Letters. It is the place where you can study everything and do anything. Arts and Letters offers a unique degree and a unique experience. In Arts and Letters, we don't consider students to be customers, and we're not trying to sell you a product. Rather, we're inviting you to become members of a vibrant community whose job it is to create knowledge for the good of the world. The College of Arts and Letters is the oldest and largest of the colleges at the university, and it offers the freest and the most flexible of all of the undergraduate degrees. We have over 63 programs, majors, supplementary majors, and minors. We teach over 17 languages, and we send the most students to study abroad locations. In fact, over 50 study abroad locations throughout the world. The College of Arts and Letters is the home to the core disciplines of the university: the fine arts, film, television, and theater, art history, design, music; the humanities, history, philosophy, English, theology, classics, the program of liberal studies, and all of our second languages. And we're the home to the social sciences: economics, political science, anthropology, sociology, psychology. But we're also home to interdisciplinary programs like American Studies, Africana Studies, and Gender Studies. It's the place where you will learn a second language to proficiency and have the opportunity to study at one of over 50 locations throughout the world in Central and South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. But in addition to being the home to the humanities, social sciences, and fine arts, it's also the home for dozens of cross-college programs as well, with global affairs, science, business, and engineering. We have students in arts and letters who are also doing a joint degree with the College of Engineering. We have a major in pre-professional studies where you can prepare to apply to medical school or to any of the health profession programs from the College of Arts and Letters, coupling the hard science courses with a liberal arts education, making a powerful application to medical school. We have a major in neuroscience and behavior. We have an arts and letters major in computer science, in math. We also have the opportunity to get to pursue second majors and supplementary majors and minors in the other colleges in statistics, physics, environmental science, sustainability, computing and digital technologies, data science, and in business and accountancy, innovation and entrepreneurship, digital marketing, real estate, and business economics. Arts and Letters is also the place where you'll have access to dozens of special opportunities. The college prides itself on the fact that our undergraduate students are genuinely contributing to the process of creating knowledge for the good of the world. Many of our undergraduate students, including our panelists today, have engaged in substantive independent research, doing lab work right alongside professors, research assistantships, capstones, and senior theses. We have research grants to support students doing this work. If students need to visit a foreign library or archives, or gather a data set that we don't currently have access to, there's abundant funding so that students can actually accomplish this work. We are committed to second language mastery. Not only do we have a requirement that students study language, but we also have a grant to get students over that hump from just baseline proficiency to mastery and ideally towards fluency. The grant is called Summer Language Abroad, We'll give students up to $5,500 to send them to the country where their target language is spoken for a 6 to 8 week immersion experience where they have the opportunity to interact with native speakers on a daily basis to really build confidence and proficiency, oral proficiency. We also have an outstanding Center for Career Development, and that's why I'm so happy our friend Jared is joining us this evening. He'll tell you more about all of their wonderful services and support. But just very briefly, one of the ways that arts and letters students make the connection from what they're studying, what they're passionate about academically, and what they want to pursue after graduation is through internships. And we have grants to support that as well. If a student is doing a paid or an unpaid internship, we can offer between $1,500 and $3,500 per summer for a student to go and engage in internship opportunities that are usually low or unpaid. Our motto is study what you love. This is the most freest and flexible degree at the university, and this freedom is exhilarating, but it's also daunting. How do you find your passion? If you're a student who already knows what they want to study, when you get here, great, we'll get you started on that path. But if you're still discerning, don't worry, we encourage that. That's also great. We have a strong advising network to help you explore all of these options that are available to you, and more importantly, to help you build a coherent curriculum out of all of the individual component parts. You should think of your academic advisors at Notre Dame, your undergraduate deans and your major and minor advisors as a concierge or as an expert guide. When you're visiting an exotic city, you need to seek out an expert local to guide you through all of the wonderful places and things to see and experience and do. That's what we do in academic advising in the college. Arts and letters graduates go on to become industry, thought, and creative leaders throughout all professions, and they go on to earn the most prestigious graduate fellowships. In fact, since 2010, we've had 10 Truman Scholars, 8 Marshall Scholars, 16 Rhodes recipients, 5 since 2015 alone, 158 Fulbright winners, and 8 Yenching Scholars since the program began in 2016. Arts and Letters offers an amazing education, an amazing experience, and amazing students who go on to do amazing things. Speaking of the amazing things that Arts and Letters students go on to do, I'd like to introduce you to our friend and colleague, Jared Mrozinski, who is our Arts and Letters Career Program Manager, to tell you more about what Arts and Letters students do after they graduate. Jared.
Thank you, Nick. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. Jared Mrozinski. I am the Career Program Manager for the College of Arts and Letters. As Nick mentioned, we do have this outstanding career development center. But what my office does is we run a program called Beyond the Dome. And what that is a career development program specifically for arts and letters students. So what does Beyond the Dome do? Mainly 2 things. One is support. So what we work on is sort of bespoke events and workshops and programming that aligns with the industries that our students are most interested in. Business and consulting, tech, healthcare, arts, law, government, education, etc. The other thing that we do is we create community for you. So we have this program called Peers to Careers. It's a student network of mentors, of upperclassmen mainly, that help students guide them through their career discernment process. So they've kind of gone through it themselves, and now they're here to give back and help. Our program is really aligned with the idea that study whatever you want, and we'll help you figure out how to align your passion with the unmet need of the world. Where I feel like our advantages in the colleges, we're really rehumanizing the workforce. An example of that might be the fact that not too long ago, I was having a conversation with an executive at Google where he told me, we don't just need people who can code Python and C++ anymore. We need philosophy majors who can code C++ and Python. So that idea that a lot of companies are now starting to understand that they need to transition out of specifically hiring STEM or the actual tasks of the role. They need people who think worldly and outside of themselves and think deeper about things about communication, relationship building, etc. What this is starting to be called in the workforce is people are starting to recruit for what's called HES skills, so humanities, education, and social sciences. Forerunners, companies like Accenture come to mind, YouTube, a couple of consulting companies I've been speaking with, most notably in renewable energy, like Wood Mackenzie, and even in financial services. So this Monday, actually, we had Baird Financial Services here, where they've typically tried to recruit strictly finance majors or accounting majors. What their understanding is actually the people who are doing really well in the role are great at building relationships, great at communicating with clients, great at understanding strategy and seeing outside of just the small day-to-day tasks. They're actually looking for econ majors now and history majors. So what we try to message to you at Beyond the Dome is come to Notre Dame and don't worry about studying for a trade to get a job. Study what you really love and what you're passionate about, and you will find a career based on that. Many of the job postings that come out, 3 to 4 of the qualifications that they post are these sort of things that they would love to have to do the work. The next 5 to 10, those are just mainly intangible traits that actually arts and letters students encompass. I mentioned communication, but empathy, how to convey a passion, a vision, an idea, how to lead. That's what companies want, and that's why they're coming to the University of Notre Dame to talk to our College of Arts and Letters students. So when you get here on campus, freshman year, you're kind of lining up what you want to study, and I encourage you to really don't get too worried about the career yet. You just got here. Really dive into the curriculum and make friends in the dorm life. But when you're ready, start engaging with Beyond the Dome, because we're here to help you, and we're going to make sure you get to where you want to go. Speaking of that, Nick and I can talk all day about, the programming, how great we are at helping students, but the reason we have students on here is because they're actually the magic of the university. So with that, I do want to introduce you to Mac Ryan. Mac's an econ major, PPE major, one of our more outstanding arts and letters future grads, and love to turn it over to him. If you could talk a little bit about your experience here.
Would love to. Thank you, Jared. First off, congratulations. As I'm coming up, I think it's 5 or 6 weeks. I don't want to count until graduation. I've loved this university with my whole heart, and arts and letters in particular. So congratulations on having the opportunity to come here if you'd like. To give a little backdrop, as you know, my name is Mac Ryan. I'm from Janesville, Wisconsin. Was a little brainwashed into coming to Notre Dame. Kind of grew up coming to football games with my dad. But once I got to high school and started visiting here more as a student, going to some of these events, I became even further in love with the university. So how did I find arts and letters? So I was on a similar visit on my senior year of high school, and I wasn't sure if I was going to try to, maybe look towards studying something like finance. Even engineering was in the back of my mind for a little bit earlier in high school. And then I met with an economics professor named Jim Sullivan, who basically described arts and letters and the opportunity to not just hone in on one subject, but to be in an area of, idea generation and debate where, even if you think you're focusing on economics, you're being hit with philosophy, political science, these intangible skills that Jared was just talking about. And stepping into my first class at Notre Dame, I saw it immediately. So in particular, what arts and letters really has meant to me, first is just the community. My grandmother would always tell me growing up that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You need to use them in that proportion, Mac. It could be because I was talking a lot, but more so, I think what she was always trying to tell me was, be observant of, the perspectives and the knowledge around you. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways of arts and letters for me is I've obviously learned an incredible amount directly, through my through my own attendance to classes, lectures, exams, etc. But I think I've learned more so than from any other outlet than just from listening to my peers and being in classrooms where, this might not be my major. It might not be even my minor in concentration, but I had an opportunity to take the class and just sitting there and participating, but more so listening to others. It's incredible just the amount of different backgrounds, majors, just that builds the community that is arts and letters. And that extends from, everywhere to, being, engaged in the classroom, working with each other, to, grabbing a coffee after a class or, getting meals with other students that you've met through some of your classes, to also just, going out with your classmates after the first snowfall to have a massive snowball fight. So it's community from, academics to snowball fights, and it touches everything in between. Next, I talk about the resources that arts and letters has for us. One, study abroad was mentioned. I don't know if Caroline was able to, but I was supposed to go to Italy, and particularly Rome, my second semester junior year. I had taken 4 semesters of Italian prior, and while I was unfortunately not able to go because of COVID, I couldn't have been more excited to, because just the resources that arts and letters has allows you to really get outside of the classroom. One of the classes I was looking forward to was called All Roads Lead to Rome. And it's notorious because it never ever meets in a classroom. You only meet at the sites, you meet at the museums, the monuments. So arts and letters is, yes, learn some of those details from your professors, from the textbook, but also really engage, with the sites, with the resources. And that was about abroad. There's even more resources here just at Notre Dame, whether you want to do, if you want to do economics research. I think Caroline's going to tell you about the thesis she's looking into. You can touch anything in any capacity, and there's the resources and the support for you here. Lastly, I'd just say arts and letters has an incredible amount of passion and interest. People are in arts and letters because they want to be in arts and letters. They didn't just fall into what they're studying. It's something that, is pretty finite and they're very interested in. And so in that case, every person walking to every class, it's not something they were forced to, but something that they're really excited to learn, and be a part of. And in terms of passion and interest, arts and letters gives you the opportunity to open you to subjects that you did not think were going to be interesting to you. I'm graduating after taking, an incredible amount of economics courses, philosophy, political science, but my favorite class, hands down, was called The Roots of the Ring and was talking about the Lord of the Rings. And it was like you got transported into this fantasy world, these historical roots. And it was so cool that I was going from microeconomics to that class, to then Italian, to then like an introduction full. So you can imagine where your mind is running one day. So that's kind of been my main takeaways of arts and letters. But to kind of give some evidence to the, study everything, do anything. I've, kind of dipped my toe in the water in as much as I could. My freshman summer, from the, political science background, I thought maybe I was going to be interested in DC. Ended up heading out there, interning for Senator Mitt Romney, had an incredible experience, got to work with policy experts, but realized, that wasn't going to be it for me. And so my sophomore year came back, ended up going and working for the Wilson Sheehan Lab for Economics of Opportunity here at Notre Dame and getting into in-depth economic research with how we can help, prevent homelessness, decreasing education retention rates. So really went into the econ of it, and then came back my junior year, had an incredible experience with Leo, but realized I was maybe looking for something else, and ended up working for the San Diego Padres this last summer. So you really, and I'm ending up in consulting. So you really can study everything and do anything. And I honestly wouldn't turn it over for the world, just the experiences that I've had and the opportunities that arts and letters has given me, but also kind of, forced me into a little bit. Wouldn't change it for the world. Pass it off to Caroline now.
Yeah, well, that was great. I would echo so much of what Mac said. And it's so crazy. Like, people have such different stories. Like, Mac has taken a completely different route than I have. But like you said, there's so much passion in the College of Arts and Letters. And, everyone studies something that they really genuinely enjoy. And I think like you saw that from Mac talking, and you see that anytime you get to listen to one of your peers talk about what they study. So yeah, I'm Caroline Pineda. I have kind of a long introduction. I'm a film, television, and theater major with a television concentration. I have minors in journalism, ethics, and democracy, which is one minor, and then the Glynn Family Honors Program, which is another minor. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I currently live off campus, but when I was on campus, I lived in Breen Phillips Hall, which is on North Quad, which makes me think that North Dining Hall is the superior of the dining halls, if you're familiar with that friendly rivalry between North and South dining halls. So yeah, I'll kind of walk you through like my journey through arts and letters and through Notre Dame in general. My freshman year, I came in, I wanted to be an American Studies major, and I chose that because it's where the journalism program is housed. And that's the one thing I knew I, without a doubt, wanted to do was the journalism program. And it's a minor that's housed within American Studies, which is an incredible major. Took that intro class. It was amazing. I wish I could have done all of it. But then I stumbled upon FTT, which has the television concentration that I mentioned. And I've always wanted to go into sports media. And I've never known if I wanted to go into broadcast or print. And so I always thought I'd have to pick. And then I got here and I realized that you can study journalism and study television. And really, I haven't ever had to choose, and I've gotten to pursue both of those. So that's been amazing. I've taken some great classes starting my freshman year. One of my favorites still to this day is a class called Covering America that I took in the journalism program, where we actually went to Puerto Rico the spring break of my freshman year and reported on the ongoing recovery from Hurricane Maria. Again, arts and letters always allows you to pursue your interests. And so I knew I wanted to talk about baseball, and I found a community who sent a team to the Little League World Series less than a year after Hurricane Maria. And I wrote about how baseball helped this community recover from the hurricane. It was, to this day, like one of the most touching experiences of my life. I still keep in touch with the people actually that I interviewed. They're amazing. They have an amazing community. And I hope someday to be able to go back and maybe write a little follow-up story. In that time, I also worked with a mentor in that class who works at the Washington Post. She gave me some advice that, like, to this day I take so seriously, which is that if you want to go into media and you can never take someone's story too lightly, is what she said. You always have to remember that like the most important thing that someone gives you is their story. Like never forget how monumental that is. That mentor I kept in touch with, she gave me a lot of other great advice over the years. And I talked about her in my cover letter to the Washington Post, which is where I had a postgrad internship now. So I'll be working there the summer after I graduate in May. To Mac's point, I actually did get to study abroad in London the summer after my freshman year, which was lucky. And obviously we never could have known what COVID would do to normal abroad for my class, but I went the summer after my freshman year to London and did some research there that I have now turned into a senior thesis on the plausibility of relocating an NFL team to the UK. So if anyone out there is an NFL fan or has ever seen those games that they take over to London, they're pretty cool. They used to play them in Wembley Stadium mostly. Now they've played them in this new Tottenham Stadium, if anyone is a soccer fan either. Pretty neat how much money and resources they've pooled into the programs over there to try to increase the fan base in the UK. I had no idea the extent to which that all existed until I went over, saw it for myself, and now it's my senior thesis that is due in a few weeks here. So I'm thankfully in the final stages of that in terms of it's a grueling process in a good way because you go so in depth on a topic. And I think there's nothing like really just like kind of getting to work on something that in depth and getting to work with people who like want to help you succeed. And that's so much of what Notre Dame is, you know, there could be something that like from the outside, like you think like, wow, a 50-page thesis, that's so hard. And then you have an advisor and you have peers and you have all of these people around you who want to help you succeed and want to support you. And suddenly like a 50-page thesis doesn't seem so daunting anymore. So I've also gotten that from a variety of clubs on campus. There are so many avenues that you can pursue. I've done student television, student radio, student magazine. Some of my favorite moments on campus and my favorite memories on campus have been from those clubs and with the peers and the friends that I've made from those. And I've also gotten to work with NBC over the course of my time at Notre Dame. I was Catherine Tappan's sideline assistant. She's the sideline reporter on Notre Dame football broadcasts. If you've seen any of those on TV, maybe. Gotten to work with that whole broadcast crew, which is some pretty incredible people from Catherine to Mike Tirico to Drew Brees and a lot of the other people behind the scenes that you might not see. But yeah, so all in all, I'd say arts and letters, just in my story and so many other people's, it instills the curiosity to find what you're passionate about and then gives you all of the resources you could ever need to do it. So I cannot speak highly enough about arts and letters or Notre Dame. It's been the greatest 4 years of my life and probably would make me very choked up if I thought more about how soon graduation is coming. But really, arts and letters allows you to study everything, to do anything, and I can't recommend it enough. So Dean Russo.
Caroline, Mac, and Jared, thanks very much. And as Jared, as you mentioned earlier, it really is the students that make Notre Dame great. And we couldn't be more thrilled to have the two of you join us for the panel this evening, and couldn't be prouder of you. And we can't wait to see what you're going to do after graduation. So best of luck to both of you and congratulations. And as Mac mentioned earlier, congratulations to our incoming class. At this point, friends, what we'd like to do is just to have a friendly conversation, driven by our Q&A tab at the bottom of the screen. So if you see at the bottom of your Zoom window, next to participants, you should see Q&A. Please feel free to click there and add any questions that you'd like to ask. And if you would like to direct the question to a particular panelist, which one of our participants already has, please feel free to do so. So let me start by picking up the first question in the Q&A window. Our guest would like to know, could you please talk about the mixed programs between the College of Arts and Letters and Mendoza? So Mendoza is the College of Business at Notre Dame. So Arts and Letters students have the opportunity to take any one of five, or actually a combination of 5 minors within the College of Business. It's accountancy, innovation and entrepreneurship, digital marketing, real estate, and then there's a minor that's jointly offered by the College of Business and the College of Arts and Letters called business economics. The reason for the joint combination, Mac will know this better than I, is because it's a combination of business courses, finance, accountancy, business stats, and the 2 introductory economics courses, micro and macroeconomics. So those are the 5 programs that are open to Arts and Letters students. The word on the street is that the College of Business is in the process of developing possibly 2 additional minors that will be open to Arts and Letters students, so stay tuned for that. And the last thing I'll do is plug, Mac Wade, the next question is going to be for you, so maybe you can pick up this thread as well, that many students who think they might be interested in pursuing business after graduation think that the only way to do that is from the College of Business by pursuing finance or accountancy. And as Jared mentioned earlier, nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, at this event that Jared hosted, there were, I think, Jared, you said 10 times as many arts and letters attendees as there were business attendees. And this was for an investment firm. So there are many programs within arts and letters that are outstanding preparation for the business fields generally. Economics is one of the obvious ones, but it's certainly not the only one. And within economics, there's actually a special concentration called financial economics and econometrics, which provides that technical finance expertise coupled with the theoretical economics foundation. So let me stop talking and pick up our second question. Mac, this one I'm going to pitch to you. Our guest would like to know, can you talk about whether and how Notre Dame helped you obtain your 3 internships, or whether you obtained these on your own?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, could not have happened without Notre Dame. The support that we have here for especially career development is pretty incredible. We have this program called Handshake, where you can basically type in what your major is, what you're interested in doing, even locations, and it will give you just a wide running list of different opportunities that you can apply for, whether it's a full-time job, internship, paid, unpaid. So it's, honestly, even though I know where I'm going full-time now, I sometimes just enjoy looking at, what opportunities Notre Dame students are being offered. So that's one outlet that we have that you can access, 24/7 just with, going online. Otherwise, we have career fairs, and it's pretty incredible, not just the wide variety of people that come, but just the quantity as well. So I remember I ended up in DC my freshman summer and ran into a think tank called the American Enterprise Institute, just in South Bend, Indiana at Notre Dame in this career fair. They are centrally located in DC, but, flew out just for recruiting for Notre Dame students. So Notre Dame gives you a lot of resources and a lot of access, and they also give you the background that you need in terms of possibly pursuing a profession in business. We have so many clubs outside of arts and letters as well that focus on possibly giving you some of those tangible skills that you might need if you don't necessarily want to do a concentration in Mendoza. So I've been really involved with the Student International Business Council here at Notre Dame, which actually puts you in touch with firms, and you work with them throughout the semester on different prompts and challenges. So yeah, Notre Dame gives you an incredible amount of access to these employers and resources. And then, they hire Notre Dame students who want to come back and hire more Notre Dame students as well. So while it obviously takes a bit of an individual drive to pursue some of these opportunities, arts and letters kind of puts the feast out for you.
Outstanding. Jared, did you want to add anything to the landscape of internship opportunities?
No, well, yeah, I can't. I love Mac's answer. And that's kind of the point of the office that we've just started with Beyond the Dome. It's a relatively new office, but what we plan to do even more of is outside of career fairs, outside of Handshake, and I'll go back to that word I used earlier, that sort of bespoke, more targeted approach. So when Baird was here on Monday, for example, they came because we heard from our students that they want to get opportunities more in financial services with companies like Baird. So we reached out to Baird, they come to campus. So a lot of the cool stuff that our office does, again, we have an incredible career center, but kind of the agility our office has is that ability to say, be proactive, but also kind of reactive in a good way of like, all right, you tell us, where do you want us to go? Who do you want us to talk to? And we'll bring them here to give you guys the opportunities. And so, Mac, I love the answer. And one of the things that, we have conversations with people like Mac, like, all right, now what else? Where else do you want us to go? What else do you want us to build? And we'll get it done for you.
Outstanding. And Caroline, the next one is, I'm pitching to you. One of our friends has asked, could you elaborate a little more on the Glynn Family Honors Program? And is that something you apply for as a freshman?
Yeah, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was a senior in high school, I was asked to apply for it, did apply for it, and then since have taken classes in it. So it supplements like some of your university or college requirements, and it allows you to take seminar style classes with a heavy emphasis on discussion, whether those are your philosophy classes, or sometimes you can sub in other requirements for that. So yeah, it's basically another way. There are so many opportunities to be in those smaller discussion classes, and it provides some specialized opportunities for those. But yeah, part of that is the research and the senior thesis. So when I went the summer after my freshman year, I applied for funding from Glenn. You can also apply in a variety of other places. But it's basically a way to be in some smaller classes and to have some other research opportunities. And yes, I was asked to apply my senior year of high school. I'm not sure what the exact timeline of that is, though.
Awesome. Thanks, Caroline. And as a matter of fact, the word on the street is that they are possibly modifying the Glynn Family Honors Program to create a second opportunity to enter the program. Stay tuned for more details on that. But Caroline's experience is the normative one, that you're invited to participate in the program, but there may be an opportunity to apply now during freshman year. So again, stay tuned for more details. Our next question is, what is the pre-health program like? So the pre-health program, I'll use the acronym, it's APH2. It stands for Arts and Letters Pre-Health. And the 2 at the end means it's a supplementary major. So that's the first thing that's characteristic about it, that you do the pre-health core science courses alongside a full arts and letters major within the holistic liberal arts education. This is why arts and letters students have such a high success rate in applying to medical school and to all of the postgraduate health profession programs. Our acceptance rate into medical school is identical to that in the College of Science. As a matter of fact, the science program at Notre Dame is called SCPP, Science Pre-Professional. The reason why the Arts and Letters program is so powerful, again, because it embeds the science courses within the holistic liberal arts education. There's also a technical reason why. The MCAT exam changed, it must be 6-7 years ago now, and it now includes a strong social scientific component, and it plays into the strengths of arts and letters students, those discipline skills, but also those humanistic skills that Jared was referring to earlier. So that's the Arts and Letters Pre-Health program. And again, the key here is that you do that alongside a full arts and letters major, and the combinations have been incredible, from some obvious ones like pre-health along with psychology to ones that are really interesting and creative, like pre-health and music or pre-health and philosophy. So all of this is possible in arts and letters. We have a technical question, and Caroline, I don't know, I want to put you on the spot and see if you remember your arts and letters requirements. Other than the foreign language, the second language, what are the required courses for the College of Arts and Letters?
Okay, well, this is where Glenn might have changed a little bit for me too, but there's a college seminar, which is like a very heavy discussion class. There's some really neat ones you can take. Like some of my friends, that's been some of their favorite classes they've taken, because there's such a variety of topics you can take those on. But there's a college seminar, and then I'm forgetting what falls under university requirements versus college requirements, but there's you take, it's so in math and science, you take 3 of those. So 2 maths and a science, or 2 sciences and a math. And again, there are so many classes that you can take within that. If you are interested in Glenn can sub out those requirements with different classes. But again, there are so many classes you can take. And one of my friends saved one of hers for second semester senior year because she'd heard such great things about it, and it would be a great class to kind of end her college career on. So those are some of them. I'm probably forgetting. There's also the theologies and philosophies, which might be more university requirements, but 2 theologies, 2 philosophies.
Yep.
How did I do?
And then we have fine arts, literature, and history and social science. Yep.
So I forgot a lot, but
Oh, that's all right. We won't receive your degree,
great.
Caroline. We promise. You still get your degree. Alrighty, so our next question is somebody who's asking a great question about music lessons, singing lessons. So this is a technical question. If you're majoring in music, as with the performance concentration, you don't pay for your voice lessons or your instrument lessons, depending on whether you're a vocalist or an instrumentalist. That's included in the Notre Dame tuition. However, if you're not majoring in music performance, you can still take these lessons if you'd like, just as an avocation. And for those students, there is a modest fee for individual lessons. Our next question is, how does the neuroscience and behavior major work within arts and letters? This is a great question. So neuroscience and behavior is at its most basic, a bridge between the biological sciences, including chemistry and biochemistry, and psychology. So bio and biochem from the College of Science and psychology from the College of Arts and Letters. You put those 2 programs together and you have neuroscience and behavior. You can do neuroscience and behavior from the College of Arts and Letters, which is what we would like you to do, or you can do it from the College of Science. So if you do it from the College of Arts and Letters, you don't have to do the physics sequence, which you would have to do if you do it from the College of Science. And which path makes sense to you? It'd be an individual conversation. Please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk through the two options for you. Mac, we have another question for you. How would you describe the opportunities of double majoring, or in your case, majoring and minoring in economics and a closely related interdisciplinary field like environmental sciences or math?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say there's kind of two directions I've taken to my approach to learning in arts and letters. One has been focusing, and this has been kind of 75% of it is the intersection of these materials, and the others kind of just introduce myself to new subjects. And I think arts and letters hits the intersection piece unlike any college at Notre Dame. And that's why I chose economics and PPE, because I didn't want to necessarily study, two unrelated subjects, but I wanted to find the intersection points. I wanted to be in my economics courses and having philosophy and political science in my background. I wanted to be asking some of those questions in, political science that maybe only an economics major would concern. And I wanted to be in a philosophy class and, I'm doubting what they're saying right now. So it's all about the intersection. And so some of these close interdisciplinary majors can be absolutely wonderful. So highly encourage that. But there also is nothing wrong with the other approach for studying, maybe music in economics, or two things that might not necessarily be incredibly connected. But in terms of arts and letters, I definitely encourage focusing on some things that have an intersection, because it just really helps you see some of the different perspectives and positions on the material from a different viewpoint.
Outstanding. Thanks, Mac. The next question we have is another technical one. When do incoming students receive or craft their schedules? It's craft. Students take ownership of their schedules from day one, which is great, but under guidance from academic advisors. So you're not thrown into the deep end of the pool without a life preserver. We're right there with you. And the next question is, when does that happen? It happens in the summer. It usually takes place at the very beginning of July, starts in the beginning of July and runs through that month. Stay tuned for more details from your first year advisors who will be contacting you in late May, early June. To what extent are students restricted by the question is, to what extent are students restricted to the college they're attending? I assume the question is, are you allowed to take courses outside of arts and letters if you're an arts and letters student? And the short answer is absolutely. You can take courses in science, engineering. Yes, it depends on whether or not the individual student has the prerequisites for a given course. Certainly in the College of Science and definitely in the School of Global Affairs, and even some architecture courses are open to students all across the university. The next question we have is, if I want to go on to study law, which undergraduate major should I go for within the college? So I'm going to give you the joke answer, and then I'm going to give you the real answer. So the joke answer, Caroline and Mac, what's the joke answer? Do you know this? What does the PLS?
Are you gonna say everything, or are you gonna say PLS?
It's PLS, right? What does PLS stand for?
Program of Liberal Studies.
Yeah, what's the joke acronym stand for?
They love their books.
Yes. PLS, probably law school.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, so it's as Max said, it's Program of Liberal Studies. It's our great books major. And it is true that many students who major in the Program of Liberal Studies will go on to law school, but Mac gave the true answer, the right answer, which is you can major in anything. Really, it's the truth. Any major in the College of Arts and Letters, and in fact, any undergraduate major, as long as you're honing research skills, communication skills, especially written communication skills, but also spoken communication skills. Any major in arts and letters will certainly prepare you for law school. We have programs depending on your interest. So if you're interested in constitutional law, we actually have a minor in constitutional studies. If you're interested in politics after graduation, whether it be policy or actually serving in public office, the major in political science, the Hesburgh program in public policy or public service rather. So basically any major is the answer. And we have an outstanding advisor in the Center for Career Development, who is a colleague of Jared's, Anita Reese, who is getting ready to transition to a new position, but we will have outstanding pre-law advising for you when you get here. Next question, can we take math and computer science classes? The answer is absolutely. So in arts and letters, you can actually major in math if you'd like to. There's a math honors program that arts and letters can pursue as their primary major. And there's also a computer science major for arts and letters students. It's called BACS, a Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. It's a full-blown, genuine computer science major, coupled what makes it really compelling. This is what Jared mentioned earlier. Google is not just looking for people who know C++ and Python, but who have disciplinary expertise in the liberal arts and social sciences, humanities, and fine arts. So the BACS program is computer science courses plus a cognate discipline in arts and letters. And that cognate discipline can be any arts and letters major or minor. So yes to both questions. Can anyone talk about the ND program in DC and what that program involves? Mac, I don't think you did the DC program, but can you weigh in on that?
Definitely. When I was there,
Caroline as well. Yep.
I was going to say I was going to COVID restricted.
Caroline, you take Caroline.
I was going to pre-COVID, so maybe Mac and I could both speak to the aspects of it.
All you.
But yeah, that was my plan. Junior spring, I was supposed to be studying in DC through the Washington program. One of my roommates actually did it sophomore year, which a limited number of people are able to do. She had an amazing experience that was cut short by COVID. And then mine was not possible altogether because of COVID. But yes, it's an amazing program. Everyone I've spoken to who has done it speaks so highly of it. It combines an internship with classes in a really amazing way. One of the classes is taught or at least has in the past been taught by someone who works at the Washington Post, which I was thrilled about with my journalism background. But so many of them are taught by people who, work on the Hill or have these great experiences in DC, and everyone who comes out of that program speaks so highly of it. So I'm bummed to have not gotten to do it myself, but yes, I would highly recommend it anyway.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Let's see. So next question we have, can I pitch this to both you, Caroline, and Mac? How do sports and clubs work at Notre Dame?
Caroline, you want to go first, or?
Yeah, sure. Is that like sports, like broad, like intramurals, or because
that's a good question. Yeah, club sports. Yeah,
we can hit everything.
Okay, yeah, well, we can touch on. I mean, people are involved in such a variety of things, and no matter like what level, if it's like intramural sports or club sports, would be like the next tier up, and then varsity sports, obviously, would be that top tier. People still really have a chance to interact with everyone in the student body, which I think is a really special thing. And if you're talking like varsity athletes, like D1 athletes, they live in the dorms with everyone else. They're not in like a separate dorm, which is really neat. And I know like, some of my good friends, like either like lived in the same hall as one of my good friends lived in the same hall as a women's basketball player who she's still really good friends with. On the smaller level with intramurals and everything, there's so many opportunities to get involved and play sports, whether that's like softball. We played softball in like a gym for a intramural season, which was really fun. But yeah, and then club sports are a little bit more serious, but still obviously like fairly low commitment. And then clubs are great. I'm involved in multiple media ones, which have been amazing. And all just, such great ways to meet people and such great ways to collaborate with people, whether that's a club that aligns with what you want to do for your career or just something you're really interested in. There are so many clubs on campus, and basically like I could pretty much guarantee if you're interested in something, there's probably a club for it.
Yeah, no, Caroline hit the nail on the head. You can have the most unique interest in the world, and there will be a table. I think is it the first week? I think your first year is when the club fair is, and they take up, I think, half the Notre Dame stadium, the first concourse. It is insane the amount of emails because you show up and you're so excited, you're at Notre Dame. The amount of emails I still get from clubs I have no interest in joining because you just get there and you're like, this is incredible how many things are at my fingertips. So anything you're interested in, you can do, and you can do it at any level. To add on for sports, one of the things I think is so unique is the intramural level where you actually play for your hall. And you can do that from every level for, something that might be similar to a high school varsity level for, some of these teams to, I just signed up for a 2v2 pickleball tournament because, why not? So you can test out things you don't know. You can play competitively those things that you do know. If you haven't gotten the moral of the story, the resources are here. The opportunities are here.
Awesome. So friends, there are, it looks like 5 or 6 very technical questions. So I apologize. I'm going to use my auctioneer voice and race through these really quickly and then provide you direction to some additional information. So can students, I think I missed the first one. Yes. Can students be a Soren Scholar their first year at Notre Dame? I believe the application process is during the first year. And let's see, what are the benefits of being a Soren Scholar? So you're a community of students that are given special funding to engage in independent research all along, not just things like Caroline and Mac are doing and the things that they've also done previously, like senior thesis, but also research projects in the summer after first year, sophomore year, junior year. So there's a special community together, they meet, and they also receive funding for their work. Speak about the language requirement. This is a question near and dear to my heart. Would Latin or ancient Greek, classical Latin or ancient Greek count, or does it need to be a modern language? The answer is no, it can be an ancient language. These are near and dear to my heart because I know them both because I teach in the theology department. Not only do we teach Latin and Greek, we teach all kinds of other wonderful ancient languages like Syriac, Coptic, Armenian, Ugaritic, Akkadian, Biblical Hebrew. Let's see, a couple other ones that I'm forgetting, Georgian. The list goes on and on. So yes, it does not have to be a modern spoken language. It can be an ancient language. Any more information on the Hesburgh program? I apologize for this quick answer. Yes, it's for students who are interested, especially in gaining policy expertise for public service. And the program's website is hesburghprogram.nd.edu. And the answer to your question is absolutely. We can get you in touch with the program director when you come for a campus visit. Next question, student attending on an athletic scholarship. How does Arts and Letters assist athletes? In addition to the strong college advising structure where you'll have a dedicated undergraduate dean where you'll build a one-on-one relationship and also departmental advisors, there's a separate apparatus called Academic Services for Student Athletes. This is an entire office with a crew of counselors to support students. And they divide up by team because they know the special practice and competition schedules of each team. Keough Programming Global Affairs, is it through Arts and Sciences or is it completely separate now? Excellent question. Most of the faculty in the Keough School are actually joint faculty in the College of Arts and Letters, or concurrent faculty. I should say it the other way around. Many of the faculty in Keough are actually housed in Arts and Letters. They're concurrent in the School of Global Affairs. And Arts and Letters students can absolutely do the second major in Global Affairs. So friends, I apologize for the rapid fire answers. Looks like we're right at time, actually a couple of minutes over. So again, I want to extend our thanks and congratulations to you, the incoming class, but also to our wonderful panelists, Jared Mrozinski, the Arts and Letters Career Program Manager. Jared, thanks very much. And to our amazing students, Caroline and Mac. Thank you very much, friends. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We wish you all the best, and we look forward to welcoming you to campus in August. Have a great evening, everyone.